Welcome, everybody, at another episode of the Wrestling vs. the World podcast. If y'all enjoying your day, sweet. If not, what the hell ever. So, I announced through social media and everything that today's episode is going to be split into two parts. This episode, I'm going to cover Wrestling Challenge, the Royal Rumble Countdown, and the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. And then Friday, you're going to get coverage of Raw, Mania, and Superstars, rather than all six things being combined into one episode. I mentioned before, my mental health has not been good, so I don't want to really have to sit through all six of these shows back to back to back in order to get one big episode done, so I feel this is going to be a bit of an easier thing, seeing the stuff that's been going on. So, we're going to start off with the Wrestling Challenge. The Countdown show and the Royal Rumble all happening on the same day, so get amount of wrestling just watching one day to prepare for the biggest pay-per-view of January ever. Well, the only pay-per-view in January, but you know what I mean. So this episode comes from the Beaumont Civic Center in Beaumont, Texas. Ian and Monsoon once again bring up that Crush is not going to be in the Royal Rumble. We get it! Every frickin' show for the past week, you guys have to keep reminding us, Crush isn't going to be there. Oh, did you know Crush is not going to be there? We get it! Okay? Fuck off! Please! Now, this was also one of those shows where they had the neon colored entrance, which is a nice touch with the multicolors WWF logo on top, so it's better than nothing. So thank you to the WWF for bringing that back again after having nothing as of late. Opening contest, Tatanka versus Iron Mike Sharp. Yeah, that same guy who we talked about from an episode of Mania where he faced Virgil. So, Sharp got a couple shots in the match, but turnbuckle head smashes became ineffective to Tatanka, similar to what they would do with Eugene later on. Oh, my head! Ow. Rebound back elbow, end of trail, Samoan drop. Tatanka wins. Mike Sharp got far less offense in here compared to going against Virgil. That should say something. Special report with Orlando Alpha Hayes. Once again, talking about Doink attacking Crush. This never fucking ends. We get it. Doink is a very bad man. He attacked Crush with the prosthetic arm. Therefore, Crush is in the hospital. He's not going to be there. Fuck off. This, to me, right now, is the equivalent of those Otezla ads that friggin' Spotify shoves down my throat, being like, oh, did you know this person has gonorrhea? And they didn't want to go to a party, so they have to take a pill? Did you know? Did you know? Yeah, I get it! You don't have to fucking shove it down my damn throat to get the point across! Fucking hell! Next match. Papa Shango versus a dude named Bob East. Berserker, he cuts a promo during the match to talk about the Royal Rumble. Hush, hush, hush. Papa Shango makes easy work of the guy. Leg drop, inverted shoulder breaker. Shango wins. Yawn. Then Heenan's promo, recent one about Narcissus, gets re-aired from the previous episode of Superstars. Get ready for Narcissus. Whatever. Then we get a tag match. Issy Bermudez and Chuck West versus the Nasty Boys. The Jobber team had no offense in here. Nasty Boys got the easy win. Running power slam, elbow drop combo. No trouble at all. Then the next match here on Wrestling Challenge. Yokozuna versus a gentleman known as Rudy Flores. Never heard of him. He got flattened the entire match. He tried one running attack on Yokozuna. Did nothing. He bounced off him like a rubber ball against a brick wall. And eventually, Yokozuna gets the win. Montai drop. Yay! Then, surprisingly, a match that I didn't know happened initially, because this was a name that I didn't think was going to be around in the company at this point. We had Mr. Bob Backlund versus Louis Spicolli. I believe he was Brad Radford or whatever his name was, eventually with the guitar. But Louis Spicolli was actually here in 93 having a match. And they tried getting some technical chain wrestling of sorts in the match, which I can appreciate. It's something different. Backlund, he gets the win. He got a double underhook suplex and got a rolling cradle to get the win here in a fine match against Spicolli. I did like the back and forth stuff. I can appreciate their effort. Then you get a replay of the recent Bret Hart Razor Ramon segment from Superstars that lasts longer than frickin' childbirth. Hey, yo, hit me. You are a bitch. And I'm gonna fuck your mom. And there's nothing you can do about it. Can you please talk faster, Razor? Okay, I can pass a kidney stone faster than this friggin' promo can go on for. Criminy! Then you get the main event. Royal Rumble report. Seen enough of that. I should have just not mentioned that because it's the same title shit. Then Reno Riggins versus Shawn Michaels non-title match. So Shawn prevents Reno from pulling the ropes to try to sling him back into the ring. Like with Shawn being on the apron and trying to be like, yank. Doesn't work. So then Shawn does it to send Reno to the outside. Well, then towards the end of the match, Reno tries going for the O'Connor roll off the ropes. Shawn blocks it. Super kick. Not quite yet. Sweet chin music. And he gets a teardrop suplex to give Shawn the easy win. I mean, he could have just put the title on the line. Could have been like, oh, I'm a fighting champion. Ha! Easy win, but nah. Now, I wanted to cover the Royal Rumble countdown because it's technically programming. 30 minutes prior to the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, led by Sean Mooney. It should have been Todd Pettengill. Nothing against Sean Mooney, but Todd is far more likable compared to Sean. It's just like, hey, I'm here. Like, I think I mentioned that during the episode where I talked about Bingo Break. Like, Sean just doesn't really have much of a presence here. He's like your typical news anchor kind of guy you would see in your 5 o'clock news, and like, and here's what happened in the news today. Somebody got blown up trying to rob a bank. Oh well, fuck him. So he quotes the countdown show from the control center here. Todd is nowhere to be seen during all this. He starts mentioning the Brett Razor feud, which then we get a bit of a clip just showing Brett doing the sharpshooter names like Papa Shango, Virgil, and the Berserker. And then you get a music video for Brett to the song Making Some Noise by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Honestly, I did not recognize this song. I don't know much about Tom Petty's music. I hear some songs from time to time. I had to pull out my phone and play Shazam just to identify the song, because they didn't really clarify on that. And we also see the pre-debut vignettes constantly of Razor Ramon to keep filling up time, including one where he spits an apple at the camera. Hey, yo, Ping, you want to go for a swim in the fountain? I'll clean your table for you, eh? I'll do your work for you, man. You know, that type of shit. And we also get reminded that Razor attacked Owen backstage earlier in the month on WWF Mania. And then once again, the long fucking drawn out promo segment with Brett. Oh my fucking god. I get it, you guys have time to fill, but you also had two other, I'll bring up the Intercontinental title feud in a bit, but you also could have filled up that time also by reminding us of the other two matches that outside of the Royal Rumble match that are happening on the pay-per-view, like Steiner Brothers versus Beverly Brothers, and friggin' Bam Bam Bigelow versus Big Boss Man. But no, let's focus on the two title matches and just verbally remind us saying, hey, there are two other matches, but we're not going to remind you why these matches are happening. Let's just pad for time here. Then you get the hype for Marty versus Shawn, including footage of their time as a tag team, the breakup segment in the barbershop where Marty dove through the window to escape like a coward, and then the segment involving the Mirror and Sherry. And then we also just get reminded, oh yeah, there's Big Boss Man versus Bam Bam Bigelow, Steiner Brothers versus Beverly Brothers, and then another replay of Heenan's recent promo about Narcissus. We get it, he's gonna be there. He's not the guy under the bed sheet. And we close this countdown with clips from Royal Rumble 91 of Bushwhacker Luke's 4-second walk/run through the match. You're like, lift, wave, arm, swing, side to side, I'm out of the ring. And then Hogan entering the Royal Rumble from 92. What was the... You guys were just clearly devoid of any kind of content to fill the last few minutes with. So you just show Bushwhacker Luke lasting 4 seconds in the Royal Rumble 91 and Hogan entering in 92. Come on now. Now we can get on to the Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble 93, January 24, 93, from the Arco Center in Sacramento, California. 16,000 people in attendance. Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan on commentary. The opening match, Beverly Brothers versus the Steiner Brothers. What was the build? There really wasn't one. I think Wikipedia said it was like, oh, it's just to see who the best brotherly tag team are, even though the Beverly Brothers aren't legitimate brothers, the Steiner Brothers are. But they didn't put any effort into the build for the pay-per-view for this match. Like, the only thing you saw were, like, those vignettes that aired during the Royal Rumble report. I mean, neither of these teams, since I started the WWE Week in Review segment, I know this is only the third episode, but they didn't even have any matches to build up hype for this feud. They didn't have any, like, get interviewed by Raymond Rougeau, a.k.a. Mike Adamle with a mustache, be like, hey, get ready for this tag match at the Royal Rumble, you should care. They didn't give us any reason to care or remember that this match was happening. Nobody got over in the build to this, which is stupid. So, you got the match happening. Commentary, they can't tell the Beverly Brothers apart. So, you got one that's clean-shaven, one that's freaking hair with the mustache. So, I'm going to refer to the one with the mustache as Harry, and the other one just as... What did I say in my notes here? Clean? Yeah. So, Clean Beverly and Harry Beverly. That's what I'm going by. So, Scott, he got a bit of a botch Tilt-A-Whirl World Sidewalk Slam to send the cleanly shaven one, Clean Beverly, out to the outside. And they were doing the whole thing. Clean was trying to be a heel, being like, oh, no matter what Scott's doing, he's cheating, he's pulling my hair, he's acting with my tights, oh, he's doing this and that, even though clearly not. Bullshit. So, and Harry Beverly, he gets caught in midair by Rick with a power slam. We've seen that so many times, but I mean, it always looks impressive there. Clean Beverly gets in the ring, and clotheslines Scott to stop him from that double underhook drop or powerbomb or whatever move he does. And then the lower back starts to become a target of Scott throughout the match. So, there's something going on there. Ref distraction causes Harry Beverly to choke Scott in the corner with the turnbuckle rope behind the referee's back. Because then Clean Beverly is trying to intimidate Rick, be like, oh, come in and fight. Oh, choke. Then you get a double down. Scott reverses a suplex attempt, but then gets stopped by tagging in Rick. You get another double down when Scott gets that double unhook drop on the Clean Beverly, and then finally tags in Rick for a hot tag. But Rick gets a scary-looking German suplex to Harry, almost dropping him on his head and neck. Consecutive Steiner lines take out both members of the Beverly Brothers. Scott's back in. In fact, I think I might have put in here like a victory roll or something. Oh, yeah, I did. I almost jumped ahead. Scott tags in. He gets put on Harry's shoulders, avoids the double team move as Clean jumps off the top rope and misses the move, and reverses to a victory roll on Harry for a near fall. Bit more action after that. Frankenstein out of nowhere on Harry, who bounces off the ropes, and the Steiner brothers get the win. Fine tag match. I liked it, but again, the build was just non-existent. They needed a match to, like, a tag match, like some kind of variation thing on the pay-per-view, but they didn't even give people a reason to, like, yeah, people were invested in the Steiner brothers and everything, but in terms of caring for this match, what reason was there? What was the story? Outside of just saying, oh, which is the best brotherly tag team? Because, again, no team got built up during the feud. The only build was, hey, here's some vignettes during Royal Rumble. It was just lazy. Now you get to match number 2. The Intercontinental Championship match, Shawn Michaels, the defending champion, against his opponent and former tag team partner, Marty Jannetty. So reminder of the build-up, Rockers broke up in the barbershop. Window. Jannetty disappeared for a while, because in real life he got released after getting arrested and all that shit with police and all that. And he accidentally clocked Sherry with the heart-shaped mirror after aiming at Shawn, who pulled Sherry into the shot. So then also the story is, Sherry's going to be in the neutral corner, but whose side is she really going to be on during this match? So, everybody's in the ring. Shawn makes his entrance. He's wearing gold, black, and white, so he's kind of looking like a shiny Altaria. Yes, I make Pokemon references. I don't care. So, Marty, he's getting the early advantage. He's constantly just laying in offense on Shawn. Shawn was trying to go for a back body drop. He was bent over for that. Wallace was practically shaking his ass for the crowd, but gets dropped to a facebuster, and a knee lift sends Shawn over the top rope to the outside. Then Shawn starts to get his own offense. He puts Marty on his shoulder, drives him right shoulder first into the ring post, but then Marty decides to start selling the left shoulder. So then Shawn just says, fuck it, I'll just start attacking the left shoulder then, because Marty doesn't know the difference between right and left. You could see on the screen, it was clearly the right shoulder that got driven to the ring post, but Marty's just like, oh, my left shoulder. What the fuck? So, Shawn, he's spending the whole match targeting Marty's left arm, and there's something I don't get here. Shawn gets a falling arm breaker onto Marty to stop him from a comeback. Marty kicks out and somehow gets his left shoulder off the canvas, because it was not being covered, even though his left shoulder was one getting weakened and targeted during this match. Wouldn't it make sense to keep the left arm down and everything, and then have Marty instead kick out with the right shoulder, the one that's not being targeted, that he's got full mobility with? His left one should be weakened down to the point where he can't even move it that well. There's no logic here. So then Shawn, he does that annoying thing that I hate, where it's like, hey, my opponent's down, I'm going high risk, I'm going to do a vertical leap to a downed opponent, only to then take a big boot to the face. He does that and he starts flipping all around, almost like he did with later on at Survivor Series 96 with Psycho Sid, saying, "Fuck this shit, I'm a tree." So Shawn, he sends Marty to the outside. Marty stops an apron suplex by reversing one of Shawn to the outside. Ref's distracted and Sherry comes up to Shawn and be like, "Hey, are you okay?" And then slaps Shawn to turn babyface and show what her allegiance is. Marty brings Shawn back into the ring with a pinning back suplex over the top into the ring. Near fall here. Marty, he gets a power slam on Shawn. Left shoulder's not a problem at this point anymore, is it? He lands on his feet when he sees Shawn roll away trying to avoid that flying fist drop, and then drops Shawn with a DDT for a near fall. Crowd thought that was over because we all remember back then the DDT actually meant something. But now, then all of a sudden, oh, it still kicks out. You mean you fast forward nowadays, it's just a traditional transitional move. Because wrestling moves mean nothing now. So Marty, he ducks a super kick, gets one of his own on Shawn for 2. Sunset Flip reversal on Shawn, who gets sent into a slingshot into the corner, and then rolled up again for a near fall. Shawn, he then, is fighting with Marty, accidentally back elbows the ref. Ref's down, yay. So then we lead to this moment. Marty puts Shawn in a full Nelson and invites Sherry, saying, "Hey, come in." Sherry takes off her shoe and accidentally hits Marty after Shawn ducked. Sherry gets in the corner, she's intimidating, getting berated by Shawn, saying "Hey, don't you try to attack me with your shoe, eh? I'm a sexy boy." Then Shawn turns around, super kick to Marty, who does that, almost like that Rikishi-ish bump, like when he takes clothesline, just flip inside out from the kick, and that's enough to beat Marty. So there wasn't a teardrop suplex. This was the super kick to get the win. And I know after this is when Shawn would finally retire doing the teardrop suplex from his finisher to just now focusing on the super kick, sweet chin music. But I mean, to finally see this win the match, a bit of a surprise. And it's a far easier move to do, especially if you're doing it on a bigger opponent and everything. But then backstage, Gene Okerlund, he's trying to console Sherry. He's like, "Damn it, Sherry, you've got to calm down. You're inconsolable." Then Sherry, she's getting, screamed at by Shawn, who's getting his face. She's like, "You said you loved me!" Marty jumps Shawn, and we get a brawl backstage. And this was actually the last we would see of Marty for a few months after this, because Marty would get released, because Shawn would lie backstage saying, "Oh, the reason the match wasn't up to snuff was because Marty was under the influence of alcohol," which wasn't true. Marty was just tired. I mean, it was a solid match, but I mean, it could have been better, especially when you see the build that was happening here. It felt like it was a little bit off. I'm glad that they were doing some consistency, like I said, with the shoulder on Marty, but again, that eventually became a non-factor. Clearly. But I mean, it was a fine match, but I expected a little bit more. Now the next match, Bam Bam Bigelow versus Big Boss Man. What was the build? No clue, really. You kept getting vignettes, but it didn't really tell a story there. Big Boss Man just wants Bigelow to serve hard time by making him sit on his nightstick. So, Bigelow, he's getting the early attack before the bell, gives him a consistent advantage from the get-go on Boss Man. Boss Man spent a lot of time just punching, where for some reason his right hand is taped up. I don't know if, before the WWE Week in Review series, Boss Man got a broken hand or something like that. I mean, we saw more of Bigelow in the build to this pay-per-view than Boss Man outside of those vignettes, because Bigelow was having matches. Boss Man was just like, "You're gonna serve a hard time, punk!" and all that shit. But a lot of punches from Boss Man. He got a running charge at Bigelow, but Bigelow ducked and gave him back body drop to send the Big Boss Man over the top rope to the floor. Boss Man, he ducked a running cross body, a lot of Bigelow's offense then would focus on the Boss Man's lower back, so Bigelow's just back shot, and all that shit. Boss Man, he ducked a running crossbody attempt by Bigelow, starts a comeback, which only lasts about a minute at the most. Boss Man tries running at Bigelow in the corner, boot up in the face to stop him. Clothesline takes him down. Flying headbutt by Bigelow. Bigelow wins. Very dominant performance by Bigelow here. I mean, yeah, it would take another 2 years before Bigelow main events WrestleMania, or does anything really consistent that people really note upon this, but, it was alright. Next match. The penultimate match, I believe the terminology would be here. Bret the Hitman Hart defending his WWF Championship against Razor Ramon. So the build of this, Razor Ramon had been around since the prior year, teamed with Ric Flair at Survivor Series to go against against Mr. Perfect and Macho Man Randy Savage. And afterwards, he started the feud with Bret, going into the Royal Rumble. Mania attacked Owen backstage, who was getting interviewed. And then that whole long drawn-out promo, hey, yo, man, like, fuck that. So Razor, he's going to this match wearing red and gold tights, so he's kind of looking more similar to a shiny Gyarados. We got a lot of shiny Pokemon here, don't we? So Ramon, he gets tries to go for a jumping knee in the corner. Brett gets out of the way, so Razor's left knee hits the turnbuckle, and he gives Brett his usual target in the match early on. Constant offense being like, hurt your leg, around the ring post, We get a glimpse of Stu and Helen in the front row for the match. Okay, that was so vital. You'll know what would have made it better if Owen was at ringside, because he got attacked during all this. I mean, I know we'll see Owen later on, but, like, he could have played a role in this. Razor, he did that whole whip to Brett in the corner, but Brett dropped down and ended up going rib first into the ring post. Looked very vicious. I mean, props there, though, but, ugh. Then, Razor starts really getting to come back with constant offense on Brett. The left leg is not a factor now here either. What is with the selling part, people? You get a body part targeted, then I get adrenaline eventually kicks in, but it's just like it makes all that built-up offense feel like it was for nothing. It's like a few minutes of getting worked on your leg, then all of a sudden, oh, it's okay, man. Razor gets a follow slam for a near fall, and then Brett gets whipped chest first into the corner, his typical nasty bump, another near fall, and then Razor gets an abdominal stretch on Brett to target those ribs. Smart thing here. Later in the match, Brett gets a sunset flip into the ring on Razor, but Razor sits through the move. You're like, hey, I'll sit through them both, man. And then Brett rolls him up after that for a near fall. Brett, he gets locked in a bear hug, 2 arm drops, but the third one, his arms up. Match continues, and then he resorts to biting Razor to get out of the hold. Big baby face there, huh? I expect that from Hogan. So then Brett, he goes through his different moves from his finishing sequences, like the inverted atomic drop, side Russian leg sweep backbreaker, stuff like that. Razor, he trips up the referee to make him fall on Brett to prevent a sharpshooter from getting locked in. I mean, falling over, I think that was executed pretty well. Then Brett, he sits on the top rope, like, because Razor was going to go for that avalanche back suplex, back elbows Razor to stop him, then he grabs on the top ropes, backflips himself over behind to land behind Razor, you know, kind of like that backflip thing that Beth Phoenix used to do during her entrance, and then gets his own standard back suplex on Razor, which, I gotta admit, that whole execution looks pretty fluid there. Backflip, lands on his feet, back suplex, boom, liked it. And Razor, like, he's down on the canvas, Brett tries to go for his elbow drop, but boot up, it friggin' right to the face, so a repeated spot here. At least Brett didn't look like he was just trying to remain vertical. We knew what move he was going for. Then Razor goes to signal for the Razor's Edge. Brett's up. Brett uses his arms to wiggle his way out of the hold, lands on his feet and goes for a backslide. Near fall here. Tests his strength for some reason on Brett, which is a little weird. Brett then actually reverses it into a unique roll-up for near fall. Both men get dropped down onto their backs for a double down, and then Brett, similar to SummerSlam 92, locks in the sharpshooter while they're on their back, rolls over, gets up, locks in the hold fully, and Razor gives up. So I gotta give props, that finish there, finishing sequence from, like, getting out of the test of strength, roll up, and then this whole finishing thing, really good. I really like that finish. I mean, I know it's been a while since I've seen this pay-per-view, but props there for that finish. Great overall match. But again, I wish the selling was more consistent. There was more selling, better done by Brett about his ribs than Razor with his leg. Like, holy crap. And after this, finally, the unveiling of Narcissus, who is under a sheet but not a bed sheet this time. And it's revealed to be the Narcissus Lex Luger, best known for his inability to join the World Bodybuilding Federation. Am I right? So Narcissus is gonna be around. I'm not looking forward to this, unfortunately. Now you get the main event. The 1993 Royal Rumble match. Winner gets a shot at the WWF Championship at WrestleMania 9. The first time this stipulation would be had for the Royal Rumble. The entrance in order of the match. Ric Flair, Mr. Bob Backlund, not quite Mr., but still, adding the prefix there. Papa Shango, the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, Nasty Boy Brian Knobbs, Virgil, Jerry Lawler, Max Moon, Genichiro Tenryu, Mr. Perfect, Skinner, Coco Beware, Samu, the Berserker, Undertaker, Terrific Terry Taylor, Damien Demento, IRS, Tatanka, Jerry Sags, Typhoon, Fatu, Earthquake, Carlos Colon, Tito Santana, Rick Martel, Yokozuna, Owen Hart, Repo Man, and the Macho Man. So that's everybody in consecutive order. Some notes to add in here as well. Bob Backlund would last 1 hour. Like, entering number 2 would last 1 hour, 1 minute, and 10 seconds in this match. This would be the longest time spent for one man in a single Royal Rumble match for the next 11 years until Error 404 broke that record 11 years later in 2004. But I mean, this was an impressive record for Mr. Bob Backlund. Terry Taylor, I give him the Quickie Award, which I'm just going to list for anybody who lasts the shortest amount of time here. He only lasted 24 seconds in this match. 4 seconds shorter than Shango, who entered in at number 3, who only lasted 28 seconds. But Terry Taylor, you lasted 24 seconds. Get out of there. You pre-cum here, okay? So then Yokozuna, he gets 7 eliminations in this match, the most dominant performance here. He eliminates Bob Backlund, Tatanka, Earthquake, Carlos Colon, Tito Santana, Owen Hart, and Macho Man Randy Savage. And this was also the match where Giant Gonzalez would make his debut. Not a legal participant, but he would attack The Undertaker, knife edge chop him to make him go over the top rope and hit the floor. So Undertaker's out by a non-participant, and would continually attack The Undertaker. I'm not going to look forward to reviewing WrestleMania 9. I'm going to tell you that all ahead of time. So, we got all this going on. The final 4 of the match. Bob Backlund, the Model Rick Martel, Macho Man Randy Savage, and Yokozuna. The final 2 would be Randy Savage and Yokozuna. Savage would take down Yokozuna, elbow drop, cover him, only to lead to Yokozuna then pushing Savage off of him to press him off the canvas, over the top rope, to the floor. So Yokozuna is the winner of the Royal Rumble, second man to do so at the number 27 position, the original one being in 1989 by Big John Studd, and that means Yokozuna is challenging Bret Hart at WrestleMania 9 for the title. Now, I know it was a stupid thing for Savage to do this, like go for the cover, because, there's no cover in the Royal Rumble. The only explanation I could think of that could make sense, in terms of trying to piece this together, it's reminding me of the match at Royal Rumble 90. For Ronnie Garvin versus Greg Valentine in the submission match, you had so many times where they were going for pinfalls because wrestlers are usually used by instinct to go for a pin in a match. Because that's what you see most of their matches involving. Because these Battle Royal matches, I know you get some at like house shows and everything, but it's not a common thing on television, especially with stakes like this, to see a Battle Royal-esque match where pinfalls don't matter. So maybe it was like an instinct by Savage to try to go for a pin because he's so used to it. But I mean, it still at least added that impressive show of strength by Yokozuna, being able to press a man on his back over the top rope to the floor to win. So the Royal Rumble match, it was actually pretty good, but it's a shame Crush wasn't there. Gag. So yeah, this overall show, it was fine. But I mean, again, 2 matches had poor builds, 1 non-existent practically. The Intercontinental Championship match was a bit of a letdown. And you had a great WWF title match and everything. So, would I recommend Royal Rumble the Royal Rumble pay-per-view? Kind of. But I mean, the only real standout match, in terms of overall quality, I would say watch the WWF title match. But then everything else is just there. And like I said, the Intercontinental Championship match, I felt like it could have done better. Personally. So, that's going to conclude this part 1 for today's episode, folks. Remember, 2 days from now, on Friday, we will get the second half of this podcast episode covering Raw, Mania, and Superstars. So, tune in for that. If you enjoyed, let me know in the comment section below, what did you guys think about either Wrestling Challenge, the Royal Rumble Countdown, or even the pay-per-view itself for this episode. If you enjoyed today's episode, folks, please remember, leave a like, subscribe with the bell turned on, and comment below what you think. And I'll catch you all in the next episode. Thanks for listening, folks. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out, and good day, everybody.